documentation, okay? So this means that you're really mindful of the dates. Where are the dates? On Canvas and on my presentations. I make it a point to remind it every time. Last week I reminded you, we spoke about this in class. I told you that you should be working on these specific sections of the proposal. I'm hoping you have at least 50% done, okay? Otherwise, step up your game. Okay, you have 4 days. It's midnight, the end of Sunday. So don't worry, okay? Okay, yes. What's the proposal? What's my name?
I forgot.
Thank you. What's the subject? Very good. What's 50% of your grade? The project. And what's 20% of that grade? Your proposal. And what's the proposal? It's a plan of your project. Does it contain all of the details about all of the numbers and the questionnaires? No, okay? But is it like a rough plan? Well, a fair draft of your plan for the project? Yes, okay? So it's 20% of your final grade from the research project. Will I be grading the first submission? No, because we have a feedback mechanism that's hopefully going to work this year, right? When I receive your first draft, I'm going to give you my feedback, and then your classmates are also going to give you feedback on your questionnaires. You work on it, and then we have the final submission. That's what I will be grading. This does not mean that you write whatever for Sunday. Okay? I need you to please behave like future dental professionals, which you are already. Okay, good. Okay, so we start with something that is very simple to understand and hopefully interesting for you guys. Did you understand everything the librarian said the other day?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Do you know how to access Medline now? Yeah. Yes? Do you know the difference between PubMed and Medline? PubMed is? Public, which means it's a public database. What about Medline? Is it the same thing? Is it the same database?
No.
It is the same database, but it is institutional, which means that we pay for a subscription. This is like YouTube and YouTube Premium, right? So you have like the version that is open to everyone, and then we have institutional access. What does this give you special rights to? Access to full text. Okay, that's why you need to use Medline. Can anyone tell me how to access Medline? How do you go about it, step by step? Imagine you're explaining it to a child. You go to the library. How do we do that?
Ask for a computer.
Okay, you have a computer, you open it, you switch it on, you access the internet, we go to Google, okay, and what do you type in?
Universidad.europa.es.
Very good, so UEM and library. If you put UEM library, the first search result should be Biblioteca Crai Dulce Chacon, which is the library from here. Okay, good? Yes, we're all on the same page. Now, once you access the page, can you do it with me so I know that you know? Google UEM library, and you should be able to open the web page that will lead you to the university's library. Crai Dulce Chacon, okay? On the top right-hand side, you can change to your language, okay? We can go from Spanish to whatever your preferred language is. Once you go there, there should be like a small portion in the bottom that says access it here. Can you see it? Okay, when you go inside, it's going to ask for your student credentials. If you go below, there's like a small, I think it's in red, the font, and it says access it here. Can you see it? Okay, you're already inside, that's why, okay? Perfect. The library catalog. Just go down a little bit. It says access.
C'est où? Je dis, le décalage. Ouais, mais après, je peux voir. Ah, c'est là.
Okay. Okay, and that will be your Google from today onwards when you look for resources and information. Do you know how to access it? Yes.
No, how do you do it?
Elle m'a dit ça, non? Elle m'a dit, je crois qu'elle sort en deuxième.
Physically, mentally, emotionally present.
Plus en première qu'en deuxième, oui.
Okay, guys. The reason I'm asking you to do this right now is because from now onwards, we're not going to be using Google. Okay, we're going to be using Medline for every time you step inside your library. This is your virtual library. You're going to look for research articles, books, etc. for your research project in Medline. The reason is that the internet is a great source of information, but as future health professionals, you have to be one Google page ahead of your patients, which means we're not just using the same resources your patients use, which means Google and Wikipedia are great sources of information, but they're not reliable. They're not valid for you as dentists. Today we're going to evaluate the reliability of these websites. And at the end of the class, I don't know if we will have time today, given that we have presentations from last week leaking into this week's class. I'm not sure if we have time, okay? But since you have your proposals due for this Sunday, you can use this presentation to look for specific information on Google and Wikipedia and contrast it with what you obtain from Medline, okay? Do you use Wikipedia?
No.
Yes? Okay, we all use Wikipedia. Can you trust medical and scientific information from there? Not really, okay? I'm giving you two different links to videos that you can watch at home because I think all of you know by now what Google and Wikipedia are. The reason I'm talking to you about this today is that when your patients, when they come to you, when they come to the clinic, do you think they would have researched their condition based on the symptoms? Yes, we live in a world where we have a lot of access to information, thankfully, but there is a downside to it, which means that when they come to the clinic, they're already going to come with a preconceived notion about their illness or pain, and you cannot be at the same level. You have to be one Google page ahead of your patients, clients, or customers. We are no longer at the school level, high school level, which means we're not just going to graze the surface, not the tip of the iceberg. We're going to dig deeper and we're going to search wider, for which we need credible sources of information. Yes, you can Google, we all Google, but I don't just Google. It's not the only source of information. We can use it for background information as a base. But when you dig deeper and search wider, you need to use Medline. Let me give you some examples of why Wikipedia is not a reliable source. If you look for the definition of Wikipedia on Wikipedia, this is what you get. Wikipedia is not a reliable source. So, not great marketing, right? It's talking about itself, and it says about itself that it's not reliable. Here are a few more examples why this is not serious. And most of the time, people who have a lot of free time, and have you heard of the term troll? Do you know what this means? Okay, the internet is full of trolls, people with lots of free time, which means that they can say whatever they want on Wikipedia, and they can be the author of the article. So you're giving them power, okay? And this is not great, which means list of serial killers by number of victims. What do you see? Please do not expand the list by killing people. Obviously a joke, and not a great one at that. Have you seen Fight Club, the movie? No? Not seen Fight Club? You know what you do this weekend? Okay? So what's the first rule of Fight Club? Do not talk about Fight Club. Doesn't exist. So, first law of thermodynamics is do not talk about the law of thermodynamics. Okay, so it's again a joke. Obviously, you cannot take this seriously. And other examples. A politician who is half man, half cocaine, according to the author. Turkish politician who's represented as a cockroach. And if you look at the list of insect species, again, you have another politician represented over here. So obviously not reliable and full of jokes. Therefore, yes, the internet is an incredible source of information, but you have to evaluate and be very critical about what information is valid, reliable, and what information is not. Have you heard of the term bias? You know what this means? Bias, what does it mean?
Favors one side.
Okay, you favor one side over the other. For example, if you're from the left-wing political party, what would you say about the right wing? Even if the person is good.
We're going to say only the bad one.
Yes, you're only going to say it sucks all the time. Yes, why? Because you're from the left wing. You're from a specific school of thought, and you don't support the other side, however good the other side is. This is bias. So information on the internet can be biased, inaccurate, and incomplete. Therefore, you must quickly evaluate your sources before using the information. The answer is midline. Okay? Now, I'm leaving you with a group activity. You can do this with the resources that you collect for your project. Can we use .com websites in your proposal?
No.
For your project? No. But what does com stand for? C-O-M, com. What does it stand for? Commercial. Okay? Vital Dent. Have you heard of Vital Dent? Vital Dent. It's a Spanish chain of dental clinics, and it's vitaldent.com. They're promoting their own business. Therefore, information in Vital Dent is not the best type of information that you can use for your project. Okay? What about .org or .edu? ORG stands for
Organization.
organization. .edu stands for educational institutions. Okay, those you can trust. Or .gov, G-O-V, which is a governmental organization. Okay, from the government. Good. Okay, so this is part one. Now I'm moving on to something that's very important for you guys: learning to design questionnaires. Have you started designing your questionnaires? No?
Moi j'ai commencé un peu.
No. Have you written the rest of your proposal? Have you written the rest of your proposal? Yes? No?
No.
No. Okay. Now, please go to your Canvas. Open Canvas documentation. Canvas documentation. If you go to the home page,
Yeah.
you have a set of modules. Can you see it? With the respective files.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the last module? What does it say?
Like template of your proposal.
Blank template of your proposal. Can you please go ahead and open it? Okay. So to make your job easier, I'm giving you an empty draft. All you have to do is fill in the sections. For those of you who already have the list of references and the annotated bibliography, copy paste it in that respective section. Okay? What are the different sections in the proposal? Can you see it? Yeah. Okay, what's the first section? Title. Then?
Names of
Names
the
of the
team.
team members along with the email of the team
Group leader.
And then? List of references. Do you have your list of references by now? In Vancouver style? M13. What is this? You have to be proactive. The submission is this Sunday. You don't even have a list of references to back it up? We spoke about this in the last class. And then what do you have? Annotated bibliography. What is that? The three most important relevant sources. You're going to make a summary and an analysis. The summary will be nothing but the essence of the work. What's the analysis? Analysis section. No idea? Wow, you're going to have a fun weekend. Analysis is how the source was useful to you, specifically speaking. I've given you an example in the presentation that says proposal, okay? I've given you an example there for you to follow. After that, you have the rest of the sections. Objective, rational, research question, data collection, analysis, and questionnaire, okay? Now, before you write your questionnaire, you need to really know everything you need to know about your project, which means you need to know where you will be distributing your questionnaires, who's answering your questionnaires. This is a tool for your research, so you really need to know your project before you start writing your questionnaire. And today, we're going to talk about just that, how to write a questionnaire. Most of you will be doing it online, right? The questionnaires? Okay, so this will be for Google Forms, what you need to write down and how you need to go about it. First, you need to understand your research, know your project really well, make sure that your questionnaire is easy to understand and easy to answer so you can maximize the response rate. We are going to use our questionnaires to gather information about our project. This is crucial information because these will be your results in your poster. Therefore, we are going to check it out. We're going to validate it. We're going to test whether it's a reliable source for your data. And for that, we're going to test it here in class, which means I'm going to correct it, and your classmates, they're also going to correct it. They're going to give you feedback, and then you're going to test it with a sample population, okay? So how many questionnaires are we distributing? Minimum?
30.
30, okay? Which means if you want to test the questionnaire with a sample, it should be around at least 3 people, which means 10% of your final sample population, okay? So you need to test it before you start distributing it. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Imagine you're bringing a new chocolate into the market. Would you directly put it in the supermarket and sell it? No, you need to test it. And you're going to get feedback from a pilot study. That pilot sample is going to tell you it's too sweet, it's too bitter, the packaging is not great, etc. And you work on that and you have your final product, okay? That's what we're doing over here. Making sure that your numbers are meaningful. The design and method of administration of your questionnaire will also influence the success rate in terms of the responses. Please remember, we need to keep 3 things in mind. What are we trying to answer, the research question, the study population, and the main objective of your work. Always refer back to these when you design your questionnaire. Okay. Usually, students in documentation, we always leave the questionnaire like the last part of the proposal, which means automatically it's the last thing you work on. But it is the most important part of your proposal. Why? Because this is your tool to research, right? And to collect data. So do not underestimate the amount of work that goes into framing your questionnaires. We will do like a small rehearsal today. Let's hope we have time, okay? Putting together questions in the questionnaire. Okay, so I'm hoping that we are already clear about this part, right? Define your research question and your study population. We also know how the questionnaire will be administered, Google Forms. Is anybody collecting data from patients or dentists? Good, okay? Because that's a tough population, because you need an informed consent. And we need to go to the ethics committee in the university. So it's a lot of work. I always recommend that we stick to student populations. How are we administering them? Online, okay? Now you formulate your questions and your responses. I do not encourage you guys to have open questions in the questionnaire. It becomes very difficult to collect numbers and data, so make sure they are multiple choice or scale or yes or no questions. Design the layout. How are you going to separate the different sections of your data? And we have something called the pre-pilot and the pilot study. Please listen up. Every year I explain this. And every year we ask the question in the exam. And every year 50% of the students get it wrong. Okay? So listen up. Pre-pilot means before you give the questionnaire to your sample population, you are going to test the questionnaire with your professor and your classmates. The same example with the chocolate, right? Before I put it out and I test it with the sample population, I'm gonna give it to my family and friends to check on the feedback that they have, a closer circle. So the pre-pilot is when professor and classmates give feedback to you about your questionnaire, which means we are making small improvements before we test it with the sample population. Pilot study means we are testing the questionnaire with at least 10% of the respondents, which means it's in your sample population. For example, in your case, if you're distributing the questionnaire to students, you're gonna test it with 3 students from Universidad Europea de Madrid, okay? So that would be your pilot study. Why? Because we're testing it with a small percentage of the sample population. Is this clear? Yes? Pre-pilot in class with your family, okay? Professor and classmates. And then pilot studies with your sample population, small percentage. Good? After this, you are now going to be given the official permission to distribute your questionnaires, which means when the final proposal is submitted, you're officially ready to start distributing your questionnaires. And then you design how you want to code the answers, a coding scheme, and you either print the questionnaires or send them out online. These are the different steps. We move on to how we're gonna go about this. You define your research question and study population and decide how your questionnaire will be administered. I'm not sure if you guys are gonna be performing interviews. I had one group many years back that did this. They were video responses and it was like a case study about every single case. It was really elaborate. I don't recommend it. It's a great way to do it for your graduation project if you are up for it. In general, questionnaires are self-complete, which means that the respondents will answer on your own without any help from you or your teammates. The questions should be directly related to your research, to your objective. We are going to filter all the questions while exploring the characteristics of the group of study, which means I am not going to give them technical terms if we are going to people who have a non-scientific background, okay? If we're going to ask dentist questions, then obviously we're not going to make it too simple. We assume that they have the knowledge. So making sure that you know who's answering your questionnaire before you formulate it. You can take questions from existing questionnaires. Use them as models. Do not copy paste because that means that you're plagiarizing your information. Therefore, if you are really taking somebody's idea, then cite the source later on in the proposal. Okay, when wording your questions, please remember simple language, no technical jargon. Avoid things that people will find hard to answer. Keep questions short and be very specific about what you're looking for. Avoid questions that are neither a yes nor a no. When things are a little bit ambiguous, a double-barreled question, we don't use it. Avoid, of course, hypothetical questions and trying to test a person's memory. What was the frequency of your visit to the dentist when you were 6 years old? Okay, this is an example where you're really trying to get them to remember things and they're not, obviously not gonna answer, so be careful with that. General questions precede specific questions, which means you introduce your topic and then you start asking specific parameters later on. Personal questions either at the beginning or the end. For the past few years, as you know, we're very conscious about asking personal questions, right? Data protection. So please remember that when you add age, you should add an option that says, I'd rather not answer. Same thing about gender, okay? Male, female, and whatever they think that they should answer, you write other or I don't want to answer, okay? This should be included in under personal questions.
Let me see.
formulate your responses. As I said, we're not going to include open questions. In the case of questions that people will select a specific option, it could either be yes or no, or maybe. It could be multiple choice, just like your exams, where you have 4 options and you choose one, or more than 4 options. Order of preference is another thing you can ask, from 1 to 10. And scales. On a scale of 1 to 10, how severe is your pain due to gingivitis? And you have 1 to 10. They have to mark where exactly the pain falls. Okay. Regarding the layout, again, this is very important, making your questionnaire attractive enough to answer. So at least 14 font size, do not cram too much text, make it visibly pleasing to answer, and divide it into sections so it's easier for you as well to get the numbers once the questionnaires are answered. The pre-pilot study, we will be doing it next week in class. Okay? Mandatory attendance. If you're absent, we will be subtracting a small portion of your grade from the proposal. So please be present. We will be doing it in class. Remember that we are not going to be including an ambiguous question, or inappropriate language in the questionnaire. The pilot study will be the final phase. Okay, this is after next week. Okay. After this, the last thing to do is to make sure that you know how you're going to analyze all of the data that you will receive from your questionnaires, which means that when you get back all of the answers, this is going to be a lot of information. You should have a general plan regarding how you want to extract the numbers, okay? I hope you guys are familiar with Microsoft Excel. If not with, what's it called? Dot numbers, right? In Max. If not, Google Forms has its own statistical tools, okay? So you can use them to analyze the data. But you need to know what you're looking for. You have to have a general plan, okay? So this is it about questionnaires, I think. Yeah. Questions? No questions? I clearly can see who's going to be presenting today. Yes? Those 4 teams, you're nervous. You want to present and that's it. You're not listening. Okay,
just one about the questionnaire.
Yes.
Can we make a live questionnaire, for example, if we just go and ask students by ourselves without
A printed questionnaire?
Yeah, for example.
Yes. The thing is, you have to be careful. Because then to analyze the data, you have to fill it by hand into Excel.
Yeah, because sometimes when you just put a questionnaire online, they don't really answer it.
It's been
you
just
skip
the opposite.
The details and everything.
It's been just the opposite for the past 5 years.
Oh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because of the pandemic, everything is digital now, so people prefer answering it online. It's easier. Yes?
Do we have to make the whole questionnaire for some days?
Yes.
The whole, with
Yeah.
all the tests and etc.
The test?
Like
The pre-pilot. Pre-pilot is in class next week.
so just like the question has to
The
be
first
done.
version of the question. Correct.
And how many questions you have
Guys, how many questions should you have in your questionnaire? 30 questionnaires. Not 30 questions. Minimum 15 to 20. 1-5 to 2-0. Questions in the questionnaire. People who answer at least 30. And I know that with Google Forms it's always more like 50 to 100. Okay? More questions, yes.
How specific are the questions?
Guys, I can't hear what she's saying. What is it?
Like how specific should the questions be?
As specific as possible to your research project. Okay? Let's do a quick example. Okay? What's your topic, you guys? Hiba, what's your topic? Social media and dentistry. We're focusing on aesthetic dentistry. Trust. Okay. So, This group's project is about the level of trust based on social media, and we're talking about the level of trust in the dentist, in the business by the patient. Can you read out your title?
How does the dentist use of social networks influence patients' trust and choice?
Okay. So, what are the things that we can ask? Okay, let's start with personal questions. What can you ask?
Age and gender.
Age, gender.
Name.
We can't ask for the name, it's anonymous.
Activity.
Activity, in terms of, you mean like professional?
Yeah.
Okay, so professional background. Are you a student? Are you, in what kind of profession are you in? And you give multiple choices, okay? What else?
Does
Oral health,
yeah.
okay.
Maybe where we come from?
Why oral health? No, I'm asking about their topic, which is the level of trust in dentists
Oh, do they
by
use social
potential
media?
patients using social media.
Do they use social
Use of social media. Do you use social media? And it could be yes or no, okay? Next question. Imagine that the answer is yes. What's the next question you could ask?
How many hours a day do you use social media?
Very good. Frequency of use, right? I use it daily, more than 4 hours a day, once a week, whenever I'm bored. So you give options, okay? Then, what else? That's it? What's the next question? Obvious question. Okay, you can stay here till 2:30, no problem. Let's go. I, for one, I like my 10 minutes before I start another class at 2:30, because I have another class at 2:30. So take your time, we'll be here. The dentist. Frequency of visit to the dentist.
No, like if they have ever searched on Google the dentist.
Okay. Before that, what's the real important question that we're missing?
Do
You
you
said frequency of use of social media. What are we missing?
How often do you go
How
to
many
the...
types of social media do we have now? Okay, what was the group that presented it? About Instagram and Snapchat, you remember? Okay, so dentist being on Snapchat is not the same as dentist being on YouTube. So you have to make a list of what kind of social media do you use. Okay, and then we go to, before you go to the dentist, do you search for information about the dentist on social media? Yes or no? Okay, what else can we ask? What's the primary objective of the research project? Level of? Trust. So, what's the next obvious question?
Do you trust the dentist?
Do you trust the dentist? Just like that. Do you trust in God? Do you trust in a dentist who has a social media profile versus a dentist who doesn't have one? Yes or no? Not sure. Yes.
You can ask a question like, how often have you been on social media before visiting the dentist to find out
Okay.
information?
Frequency of use of social media before going to the dentist. Okay. Does the number of followers a dentist profile have influence your choice of the dentist? Okay, that's another question you could ask. Do you get the idea?
Yes.
So it's a really creative part of your proposal. It's the part that I think you will enjoy it if you know about your project, okay? So do not please leave this for the last moment, okay guys? Please do it before and sit together as a team and work. This weekend on Saturday, no partying. Sit with your team and you work on the questionnaire, okay? Okay, so you will have plenty of time to party in December. Otherwise, you will be with me in July and we'll party together, okay? So, shall we start with the presentations? Yes? Okay, who wants to go first? You choose or I choose?
Oh, it's gonna be tough because You know, the questionnaire thing, you have to be able to think of all the questions and then you'll have to relate them to the project and then finalize it.
It's due on Sunday or
Yeah,
Saturday.
Sunday.
We haven't even started. I didn't even know it was due on Sunday.
Yeah.
Where's the other? Where's Leon and things?
I think it's there.
Where's Leon? I think it's Sunday.
Pourquoi t'es pas passé en classe? Ça veut dire maintenant c'est pas attendu à l'école, t'as dit bon, ça vient, je le vois. C'est le prof de bio, elle avait mis ça. En plus, j'ai dit en prof de bio.
Have you guys done the questionnaire? No, Lorenzo. Have you done the questionnaire? No. Huh? I didn't even know it was due on Sunday. I didn't even know it was due on Sunday.
It's just
Amy? Have a problem with your files. Let me check, okay, just a second.
should we create one now?
My laptop's dead. It's pretty dead. I think we'll do it together maybe tomorrow. Or we can do it after class today. But I don't know if Lauren is in or not. Was she in the first lesson?
I think so. I didn't see her.
Non, en fait, moi, c'est ce que je suis en train de proposer à mon père. Je suis en train de dire au père, peut-être que je t'interromps, parce que une boîte avec des... Une boîte ici, avec le nombre d'étudiants qu'il y a. Avec le nombre d'étudiants qu'il y a. Non, mais c'est pas pour les autres, c'est que non. Non, mais genre, la
What religion?
Sorry?
What religion?
I don't really get. I'm not really that into like religion.
What religion are Chinese people that use? They're Christian
They're usually most of them are atheists.
and Buddhists as well.
Yeah, Buddhists. And also some of them are Muslims.
Uyghur Muslims.
Sorry?
Uyghur. What do we call them? Uyghur Muslims.
No,
But I
like
think they don't like Muslims in China.
no, but it's like some of us have like we have. I'm not sure about that. You?
I'm Muslim.
Okay.
Look, isn't that like the shower jobs?
Melanie and group, you can start.
Okay, I'm Reva, and we're going to be presenting this article entitled Factors Influencing Choice of Oral Hygiene Products by Dental Patients in Nigerian Teaching Hospitals. And it was written by these two authors and published in June of 2017. Okay, so I'll start with the background and the aim. So in terms of the background information, they talk about how there's several factors that were influential to the choice of oral hygiene products, and these range from price, family influence, packaging, and design. And then
Make sure that your elbows don't touch the screen, okay? It's very sensitive.
how do I let go?
Maybe use the keyboard.
Okay. Patience with technology, as always.
Okay, like I was saying, media advertisement was another factor that was deemed influential, and I thought that was important to include due to the amount of media usage today. I also decided to include the aim verbatim.
Silence, please.
I included the aim verbatim, and it is to assess the extent to which some factors influence the choice of toothpaste and toothbrushes among dental patients in a Nigerian teaching hospital. So you can get kind of an idea of what the article is about. And then I'll touch on why we chose this article in particular. So if you read this, this is our title for our future project. And as you can see, it's quite similar to, or the article we chose is quite similar to our title, since we're going to talk about choices of oral hygiene products and also some of the influencing factors, as we're going to talk about choice of toothbrush and toothpaste. And then in terms of a brief overview of the introduction of the article, these were some of the main factors and then some smaller factors that were deemed influential. So in terms of socioeconomic factors, obviously people tend to choose the cheaper option, also in terms of price versus quantity and price versus quality. And then for designer packaging, as we all know, manufacturers tend to make their products as appealing and as attractive as possible just to get more people to purchase them. And then content of toothpaste, this was an interesting point because in Nigeria, consumers tend to lean towards herbal-based toothpaste rather than fluoride-based, even though that's what dentists recommend. But Nigerian people actually think that more herbal-based toothpaste has not only anti-cariogenic properties, but also other healing properties such as clearing of internal heat. That's, I guess, something they say. And that refers to gum disease, gum bleeding, and gum inflammation. And then lastly, the main factor was hardness of toothbrush. Nigerian consumers usually buy harder bristle toothbrushes because they think it's more effective and efficient, but actually harder toothbrushes are damaging to dental tissues, oral tissues. Yeah, so these are smaller factors that were also relevant. So that's a brief overview introduction. Now Melanie will talk about.
I'm sorry, could you explain the clearing of internal heat? What is that?
Yeah, that's an expression that they use, and it refers to, like I said, oral ailments. I don't know if that's the right word, but yeah. So inflammation, bleeding, and yeah.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Melanie. The study was conducted on 200 patients, dental patient volunteer of the University Hospital of Nigeria between October 2014 and February 2015. It is really important to understand the sampling in order to expand it, so volunteers were classified by gender, age, and educational levels. I did some charts in order to simplify the data. For the gender, half were males and half were women's. The age, the most important category of age was between 21 and 30 years old, which represent 33%, followed by the more than 50, 26%, and more than the half have a university degree. So to remind you, the objective was to evaluate the factors that can influence our oral hygiene choices. And for that, the method used was a questionnaire that gathered information about their oral hygiene preferences. The questionnaire focuses on the cost, the packaging, the brand, the media, their previous experience, and the advice of dentists. Here is the result table, and I picked just the main important one, which was for the toothpaste, their previous experience at 69%, the fluoride content at 62%, and the dentist advices at 55%. About the toothbrush, volunteers choose their toothbrush based on the bristle texture at 90%, their previous experience at 65%, and the dentist advice at 55%. Then I let Ryan to the conclusion.
In conclusion, this study sheds light on the important role of previous experiences in shaping dental preferences in a Nigerian teaching hospital setting. And the results of the study reveals to us that consumers who already have a preference in a oral hygiene product such as a particular brand like a toothbrush brand or a toothbrush brand, they are more likely to remain loyal to these oral hygiene products due to their previous experience. Among the factors influencing the choices of patients, fluoride was a key element for many patients, as it is known to be effective in preventing dental decay and strengthening teeth. Additionally, patients showed a preference for toothbrushes based on the texture of the bristles, as they are more likely to choose a medium or soft texture, as it is more gentle on their gum. Interestingly, this study also found that media advertisement and family influence have a minor influence on the decision-making process for many patients. This suggests that while marketing and external recommendations have some influence, they are not as powerful as the direct experience that the patient can get with oral hygiene products. And the study underscored the importance of patient education, where dental professionals can play a crucial role in guiding patients towards the best oral hygiene products and the products that can be more beneficial for the patients.
Thank you for listening.
Based on your personal experience, do you think that the dentist's advice plays a strong role in the choice of toothpaste and toothbrush, or do you guys just choose it in general based on your personal preferences?
Your question is about us?
About you guys?
Yes, usually it was a question that I asked to my dentist, so it is why we choose this topic.
Okay,
So
but
I was wondering if they ask also, but no.
okay.
So,
But
yeah.
you guys listen to your dentist, or is it a personal
Of
preference?
course.
Okay.
he did medical school. And
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
doing it also, but of course.
But if you would ask like a lay person, a layman, a person who's not from, you know, dentistry.
I won't listen. I won't listen then.
Okay. Okay, thank you. We move on to Sarah Jafal and group. That was a good presentation. Congratulations, you guys. Yes, now it's work. Yes.
Comment ça expliquer ça? Ça investit. Ça investit.
Okay.
Non, j'ai choisi les chips. Ah, c'est quoi le type C? Ça, c'est parfait.
Okay. Let's go.
So hello everyone. Today we're going to present the article that is called "The Future of Dental Devices in the ECD."
Your name, please.
Shaista.
Okay, I'm Sarah Jafal, and I'm going to go over our research proposal. So our research question is, how is the rapid integration of advanced technologies transforming patient care and reshaping dental education? So as we all know, the dental industry is witnessing rapid technological advancements, and technology is becoming more prevalent in healthcare. And our proposal is going to go over how these integrations are evolving over time and how they're transforming patient care and reshaping the profession.
So this is just an overview of our article. So the author is Richard van Noort. It was published in the Journal of Dental Materials in January 2012. So my name was Talia. And just a quick summary of the article. So the article starts off by talking about how dentistry's had a long-standing enthusiasm for technological developments, and it's through that that dentistry's been able to get things like dental drills or new materials that we use like silicates or amalgams that dentists use every day. But the main focus of the article was CAD/CAM systems, which is a technology that allows dentists to make a 3D model of a patient's mouth and upload it directly to a program without having to take an impression. So just a show of hands, has anyone ever gotten Invisalign? Okay. Well, if you've gone through it, then you're probably familiar with this, where they'll scan your teeth using a camera and upload it to the Invisalign program, and then through that they can show you what your teeth will look like. But there are also other programs, like programs where you can design crowns, the veneers, bridges, and stuff like that. The CAD/CAM system is based off of two different types of manufacturing. There's subtractive and additive. So subtractive manufacturing is where the machine will start with a big block of material and cut it down to the desired shape. And additive is where the machine will 3D print layers till it gets to the shape that you want. And then the article ends by talking about how our continued use of these new technological advancements will help make the practice of dentistry more cost efficient, time efficient, reduce the need for labor, and just make the whole practice more effective. But there's still a lot of room for improvement since the materials that we do use, or the materials used for manufacturing, aren't the best suited for medicine yet.
So as Talia mentioned, the main systems used in dental technology are CAD and CAM systems. CAD stands for computer-aided design, and CAM stands for computer-aided manufacturing. These systems improve accuracy and speed of production, and they're also more cost efficient. CAD and CAM systems consist of three steps. data acquisition, data processing, and data manufacturing. Okay, so how many of you have ever had to sit through like the unbearable process of getting a dental impression? Like, yeah. So if you have, you know that it's an uncomfortable process and it takes horrible. So what if I could tell you that you don't have to go through that anymore, thanks to the introduction of Omnicam camera. So an Omnicam camera, as I mentioned, it is a computer-aided design. So it consists of data acquisition, data processing, and data manufacturing. So it has a camera and it's moved over the teeth, and it generates a 3D model of the teeth in a matter of minutes. So it's more time, it's less time consuming, and also it's more efficient. It eliminates the need for the use of the messy impression trays, which are uncomfortable and can often be invasive. Okay, and then the milling machine is an example of a computer-aided manufacturing process. So first of all, for data acquisition, it's created by software of the patient's digital impression, and it uses a block of ceramic or any other material to mill it and have a precise model of the teeth. This enables same day, like you get the model same day, and it's highly precise. Okay. So the first revolution in dentistry involved the CAD and CAM systems. These digital methods can potentially be extended to all areas of the dental profession. They include customized implants, dentures, and orthodontic appliances. They offer faster results, they're more consistent and cost-effective.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the relevance to our research of the article. So first of all, I think the article provides a comprehensive overview of the general changes that are taking place in dentistry. And furthermore, I think it covers the two main points of our research proposal, which is the effects of advanced technologies on patient care, but also the effects of advanced technologies on dental education in general. So furthermore, I divided this into three main points why I think it's so relevant. So the first point is that innovations such as CAD/CAM systems, as well as layered fabrication techniques, and so many other techniques such as the 3D printing techniques such as FDM, SLM were mentioned before. And these were all used to create crowns, bridges, and restorations in general. So here in the article it's kept very broad, which is similar to our research proposal because we also keep it very broad. We don't only specify on one specific technique, because we also had different articles. For example, we had one article where they talked about 3D printing in general, but we wanted to keep it more broad so we have more to research on. So the second point is that the article covers that it's more accurate, so that the new techniques can be used to make more accurate impressions of the patient's mouth. So, for example, veneers or crowns are going to be better fitting, and because they fit better, they're also going to last longer, and because they last longer, they're also going to be more cost efficient. And then this is directly linked to the patient's care, which is also a part of our research question. So the third point, why I think it's so relevant to our research, is because, again, as I mentioned in the first point, so many different techniques are mentioned, and also many different restorations that can be done with the techniques are mentioned. And because these new techniques are so broad and there are so many of them, I think it's reshaping how dental education has to be approached, for example, in universities, and also dentists who have been dentists for many years will also have to have a reshaping of their dental education because they have to take advantage of these new technologies. Yeah, this is then linked to the dental education part of our research proposal question.
We chose this article for several reasons. First of all, in this article, we can find various types of advanced technologies, as Victoria said and we saw previously. It is important to our research because it allows us to have a broad overview of those different types of advanced technologies and their applications. We see that they can adapt to different needs. For example, the stereolithography we didn't talk about. It's a machine that helps to make solid objects. And we also the history is also very important in this article because we can see the historical context of those new technologies, and it helps us to understand our subject and the background behind it. History is important also to understand how those new technologies are emerging and developing very, very fast, even faster than anticipated. And we can think about how those new technologies and the traditional methods can collide, which is actually an essential issue that this article mentions. And finally, we can see the impact on dental care. We have the positive aspects of patient care, for example, the preciseness or the efficiency. But we also see that the dental education have to adapt and to renew to just like adapt to those changes, those constant changes, to use those tools and to provide the best care possible for their patients. So we can see that this article is very important because it talks about two main aspects of our question, which are patient's care and dental education.
Thank you. Thank you. Do you guys have any questions?
Is there a huge difference in cost when you use these technologies? What's the cost difference like? Like you said that the traditional method for dental impressions, right? It's obviously not a great method. But when you use this technology, is there like a huge difference in cost?
So traditional methods are less pricey, but we saw in the article that the new technologies are becoming less pricey also. So the price is increasing. So that's why we saw that advanced technologies are maybe taking over those traditional methods.
So there's no huge difference in price there?
There is, but it's starting to
clinics will like rather pay like a bigger, like more initially, but then it just improves how like the practice and makes everything more efficient. You don't need as much materials for all the impressions, and it just makes things a lot more efficient. So now
also,
clinics would rather do
due to
that.
like the increased precision of like a digital camera, the impressions are more accurate. Whereas if you were to do them with tape, you have to like redo it several times to get the accurate one.
Right, so long term it's cost effective.
It is.
Okay, thank you very much. We move on to Fanny and team. Why were you so nervous?
Mais non, c'est pas. No, I promise. But we are talking a lot from
What?
Daniel takes like 10 seconds.
Okay, next team.
Yeah, no, Google's the
Let's
best.
begin.
Hello everyone, so today Matthew and I have decided to talk about something that preoccupied all of us. So it is about the important connection between self-esteem and our smile.
I'm sorry, your name?
Lou. So how many of us is preoccupied with our smile, wondering how it looks like, and how it affects our self-esteem? It is why we decided to delve into this complex issue and discuss about the article titled the association between self-esteem and aesthetic components of smile among adolescents. So this article is written by Lydia Gabin with Michaela Budimir and Anthony Ratazin. It has been published on PubMed on the 4th of March in 2024. And it is on the field of dental medicine, and it has been produced by the University of Split, Sotanska, in Croatia. So self-esteem is a crucial element in any individual's life, and it affects many factors in life, such as social communication and mental health. So we're getting. Sean is going to talk about the method, then Kimi is going to talk about the results, and finally, Fanny is going to do the conclusion.
Hi, my name's Sean. I'll be telling you about the method today. So the study was conducted through the use of a questionnaire. It was conducted in Split in Croatia, where they tested children, so aged 13 to 18, and it was conducted in 2022. So the questionnaire was split into 3 segments. So the first segment aimed to get general information, obviously whilst maintaining anonymity. So it asked questions such as, age, gender, year group, those sorts of things. As well as this, the first section also asked for 2 yes or no questions, one containing questions about whether the students had previously had orthodontic treatment, and then the second one, a yes or no question asking whether or not there was a desire for orthodontic treatment in the future. The second section was about the aesthetic component of smiles. So the students were presented with an index, each containing 10 different photos of smiles. This index basically had the smiles rated from 1 to 10 based on aesthetic component. So number 1 being the best, and then number 10 being the worst. The students were then asked to compare their smile to one of the smiles that they had seen in the photos, and then an orthodontist came in and also ranked the students. The orthodontist was then able to split the students into 3 groups, with group 1 being no orthodontic care needed, and that was from numbers 1 to 5, based on the ratings. And then group 2 being mild orthodontic care needed, based on the numbers from 5 to 7, and the rest were in desperate need of orthodontic care. So then it went on to the third section, the third component of the questionnaire, and that was based on self-esteem. So it measured self-esteem using what was known as the Cooper-Smith's self-esteem questionnaire. It's used to measure self-esteem in children and teenagers. It contained 25 questions, which were true or false questions, true being positive answers and false being negative answers. The highest number of positive answers basically correlated with how high your self-esteem is. So the higher your self-esteem, the more positive answers you have. And that was used compared to the aesthetic component in order to gauge a general answer. There were some ethical issues which were also liable in this experiment. So obviously, because they're studying children, so the school was first approached and consent was given by the school to measure if they could ask the students those questions, as well as informed consent being given by the parents of the students. Anonymity was also maintained throughout the experiment, as well as the students' right to withdraw. But yeah, that's the method of the study.
So hi, my name is Kimi and I'm going to talk about the results. So in this chart we can see the view children have of their own smile aesthetic compared to the professional evaluation by the doctor of dental medicine. This can provide a useful insight in orthodontics and aesthetic treatment where patient satisfaction and professional standard may differ. Figure 2 shows the self-esteem of the participants according to the assessment of smile by the participant and the dentist. In this study, most children rated by smile highly, and the self-esteem score were positive as well. It seems that there's a link between self-esteem and self-aesthetic, which highlights the importance of understanding how beauty standards set by society, such as a pretty smile, can create insecurities at a young age and impact self-esteem in an adolescent's life. We can also see that the more the children rated their smile aesthetic, the more their self-esteem was high. And so this also supports the idea that the better the child perceive their smile, the better they feel about themselves. To summarize, the analysis of figure 1 and 2 shows us that there's a correlation between smile aesthetic and self-esteem in adolescents.
I have a question. The light gray bar on the left side graph, what is that exactly? Because it says aesthetic component. Is that a positive thing or a negative thing?
This one?
Yeah.
As Sean said, so we can see the grade.
The light gray bar.
1 from 10. The lighter shade is like the score is estimated by the child, so how they perceive their own smile aesthetic, and the darker shade is like the evaluation by the doctor, as said in the method.
Okay.
So the children will rate their own smile, and then a professional will also rate the child's smile.
Okay, but my question is it a positive score or is it a negative score? Like, is it about them being happy with the aesthetics?
This one?
Yeah.
So this is the grade, and this is like the number of child. So
a number of children.
So like there's more children in this portion, which means that more children think good of themselves, of the smile aesthetic, and like not as much we say the
negative.
very bad.
Okay, because I understood that grade 1 is like grade 1, like the school grade.
Yeah, and this is like the number of children, because there are 430 children aged to 13 to 19 who participated, and we can see like an average of 200 who graded 1.
Okay.
Okay, so the study has a broader implication for how healthcare professionals approach dental treatment and show and taking into account the psychological benefits. Of course, further studies are needed to understand better the impact of dental treatment on self-esteem, and we have taken into account the EOTD, the Index of Orthodontic Treatment Needed for adolescents, and it has shown that with dental treatment, the adolescents have a better self-esteem of them. The study takes into into account both psychological and physical aspects of the thing, and has shown that there is different factors that can influence, for example, the gender and the previous orthodontic treatments, and also the alignment between dentist and adolescent perception of their smile, and this can contribute to higher self-esteem. So there are the important factors. So why we have chosen this article is because, first of all, the article is quite precise and shows important data and accurate statistics. And there is also, it's important as future students, as future doctors, to understand that our job can improve and can impact the life of our future patients. So in conclusion, obviously other studies are needed to understand better these dynamics, and also to understand the nature of self-esteem, because self-esteem is not just a question of the dental treatments. Thank you.
Do you guys have a plan for the age group that you plan to analyze for your project, or is it spanning all kinds of age groups?
For all kinds.
All kinds.
13 to 18.
And you're planning to distribute the questionnaires here in the university, because your results are probably going to be different, because these are very young children, right? Are you going to do it here in the uni?
Probably.
Okay. Okay, thank you. We move on to the last team. Amy and Brooke.
C'est nous qui devons mettre le truc ou c'est qui le met? Je connais bien.
No, I was not looking at it. Yeah, I could.
It's hard for them because they don't speak English as well.
What group are you in? Why didn't you go?
Because the professor told me that I don't have to go for this one. Even though I want.
But you have to take your
Because I like to present something.
You used to do that business a lot.
Even so, I was doing the whole group project. I was just giving the stuff.
You prefer to buy than repair.
But sometimes better to just
Why is super glue?
How did you guys go to Jumbo? You go Uber? Did you get Uber? Jumbo? You know that
last time when you left that,
we had to leave, bro. How?
So you were telling my support.
Yeah, but maybe I'm not.
because we were in the group in the beginning.
No, you guys can come and speak.
Okay, last team.
Even at the end.
Let's go.
I leave my laptop there. We'll come.
Silence, please.
Hello everyone. Today Amy, Fiona and Alessandro are going to present to you the difference between clear aligner and braces based on this article. A comparison of the treatment effectiveness between clear aligner and fixed applicant therapy. This article was published in 22 January 2019 by Chinese stomatologists Yun Yanqi, Yan Fezhu, and Min Zhu. Over recent years, clear aligner have seen a significant increase in popularity due to their discreet appearance and higher comfort level compared to traditional braces. The main purpose of this systematic review is to examine the clinical effectiveness of clear aligner and determine if they can offer the same orthodontic results as braces. In 1946, Howard Kessling introduced the idea of clear aligner for correcting the misaligned teeth. And in 1998, Align Technology launched Invisalign for initial design for resolve spacing issues. Thank you. as a material and computer design that tip movement improved, the range of cases that clear aligner could address expands significantly. Research has shown that clear aligner can now resolve many treatments of a wide variety of malocclusion from mild to severe.
Okay, so as we know now, it's been about a century that regular fixed braces has been the most standard and the most effective orthodontic treatment we can give to patients. But as Arwen just said, the past few years, the demand of clear aligners have just been increasing a lot, especially, and I don't know if it's done on purpose, but it is targeting a certain range of age. So you're going to see in the article that it's between 25 and 35 years old. So which is very understandable because adults want something more discreet, they want something more aesthetic, and I mean they don't want to let everybody know that they are dealing with malocclusion problem at this age. So we know that children and adolescents, so from 11 to 16, don't really mind having regular fixed braces. Sometimes they even like it and ask for colored ones. So because these debates between both treatment has been increasing a lot, we can even ask ourselves, in 15 years, are clear aligners going to replace fixed braces? So this is basically why these types of article has been done, and this one especially, to just compare one thing, the effectiveness. So being like, okay, now which one is the more effective, clear aligners or regular braces? So if you don't know what malocclusion is, by the way, it's basically having an imperfect position of the teeth when you have your jaw closed. So we chose this article as the most relevant one because all the hardest part has been already done, which is for us as students, it's kind of hard to determine which one is the most effective one. So we're gonna do a work of completing this article because we thought, how can you compare two things with just one characteristic, even if this characteristic is the most important one? So we're gonna complete this work by adding, as I said, other types of things, such as the price, the aesthetic part, the comfort and the pain, because we know how painful it is to go back home from orthodontist and having in such a pain, and obviously the duration of the treatment, which is very important. So we saw that it's mostly personal opinions.
Okay, talking about the methods, the review collected 8 studies, 2 randomized controls trials, and 6 cohort studies. So the the review was a random review, and these 2 types of these 8 studies included a specific population, and they compared the populations between like weight, ethical, like the nationality of the people, and also the age. The results, like the review revealed that clear aligners were not effective as braces, such as producing occlusal contacts, which means that clear aligners were not as effective as the braces to align perfectly the teeth between the upper and lower part, controlling the teeth torque, which refers to the twisting force needed to position the teeth in the correct position, and expanding the traverse width of dental arches, and ensuring a long-term retention after the treatment. But there were no significant differences between the clear aligners and braces. However, we can see that, as Aaron said before, that people prefer clear aligners. And the advantages of these are that clear aligners are the duration of the treatment is less compared to the braces. Is usually the treatment is between 6 to 18 months for the clear aligners and 1 to 3 years for the braces. And also clear aligners excel to control the segment, to allow more controlled and segmented movement of individual teeth, which can be useful for cases that require more precise control over the individual tooth.
So, in conclusion, the comparison of the clear aligners and the circular braces highlights key differences in their effectiveness of orthodontic treatment. So, clear aligners offer significant advantages in terms of comfort, aesthetics, and reduced duration. And both clear aligners and braces are effective in treating occlusion. While clear aligners are popular for their convenience and discreet appearance, braces are superior for long-term retention. Ultimately, the choice between clear aligners and braces depends on the patient's specific needs, treatment goals, and personal preferences. So this review highlights the importance of the tiring orthodontic treatment to the individual needs. So the need for a more randomized trials to strengthen findings and advocating patient-centered decision-making to approach that balances comfort with clinical outcomes. Thank you.
I'm slightly surprised that braces are better than clear aligners because right now Invisalign is more popular in the dental clinics, you know that, right? Okay, but you have other papers, I hope, that back up the other side of the evidence because this seems like an exception to the rule because Invisalign is also effective in treating malocclusion, okay? So make sure you include other articles that support Invisalign in your project, okay? Okay, thank you. Okay guys, so you have your deadline this Sunday, midnight. All you have to do is fill in the sections of the blank template of your proposal. Design the questionnaire. Have you uploaded Take your time. Be here till 2:30. Take your time. Thank you. The submission of your proposal is due for midnight this Sunday, the 13th of October. All you have to do is fill in the sections in the blank template of your proposal. Who's going to be submitting it? The team leader, not everyone, okay? Second, if you plagiarize information or use ChatGPT for your proposal, we have an automated software that will detect it. So those of you who use these two things, if you use ChatGPT or you copy paste from online sources, you will receive a 0 for your proposal, okay? So please remember not to do this. You guys are professionals, you're gonna be professional. So please be professional when it comes to submission. Number 3, have you submitted assignments before on Canvas? Okay, I will open up a section and I will send you a reminder email on Friday, okay? All you have to do is follow the instructions. It's not rocket science. You open the activity and upload the PDF. Please do not use dot pages. Are you listening? No dot pages will be allowed on Canvas. The only format that we will allow is PDF, okay? Please do not upload dot pages because that means I cannot download your proposal, which means I cannot correct it, okay? So please upload only PDF format for the assignments. All the best and I look forward to reading your proposal. Thank you. Have a good day.